Hello, everybody. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, and I am thinking my way through the Harvard Project Zero thinking routines. So if you want to help me with this work, come to studio-nemo.com or ping me on the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge or the Duolingo Educators Network. We are still in generating possibilities and analogies. And again, all the thinking routines are located right here, and the link is in the description. We are on Digital Habits Checkup. Check, choose, challenge, boost, and track. All right, so I started doing things differently going into the pandemic, of course, because right as we were pushing our students out the door, my first thought was, oh, dang, I just finally convinced my last holdout student to stop trying to sneak a peek at their cell phone during class. And I had gone over all the brain science and everything and finally got the last holdout on my side. And now we're going into lockdown, and guess what? Everyone's got their phones out and their computers out and everything. I'm going to have to deprogram my students all over again when I see them again. And sure enough, after the lockdown eased, yeah, I had to deprogram them all over again. Didn't want to fight that battle. I didn't want to shame the students or anything. So I just quietly go around to them and say, put your phone away, put your phone away, put your phone away. And then maybe once a month I started having this quick 3-minute brain science lecture to remind them why it's important to put things in long-term memory and how to put things in long-term memory. And that's when I started my Metacognition Monday, which I'll talk about in a few minutes again. And I have a whole playlist about that. But it's basically to remind the youngins to stay focused. So, of course, the big technological battle we have is not only keeping the students from being distracted by their phones, checking their texts, playing their Grand Theft Auto games and their clicker games and all that. It's also keeping them away from machine translation. Okay, so I really like to definitely at the beginning of the year and then every few months or so, I'll have my little machine translation lecture where I like to show them some of the silly stuff. Now, the students who are machine translating, they're not doing it to cheat. I want to just reiterate that. Don't think that your students are out to get you, okay? They're not trying to cheat. It's just that they're frustrated because they have a complex thought in their head and they don't know how to get it out. And they don't know how to get it out using the limited vocabulary that they have. So the desire to go to machine translation is pretty huge just because of that frustration. So I like to show them bad machine translations. Oh, here's when Japan lost a lot of money right before the Olympics because they had just goofy signage. This is my very favorite right here. This is Ariana Grande's hand. My very favorite. She wanted to say 7 rings, but she didn't understand that hibachi are kind of built in 7 concentric circles. So it basically says barbecue, and then she added the word finger under it to try and fix it, but that doesn't fix it. Now it says barbecue finger, so I just think that's funny. The other one I think it's really funny is, you know how there's a lot of fan fiction on the internet about Lord of the Rings, and also there's a lot of articles on the internet about how people don't like Russia, and so for a while Russia was getting translated as Mordor, which I thought was really hysterical. And then of course, oh, this was a good one because these people wanted to say, I spent my life helping widows and orphans, but because they used machine translation, they said I wasted my life helping widows and orphans. Just hysterical. And then I'll show the students maybe some Google Translate sings or some / of the West, or Peanut Butter Gamer, who lives out kind of near me. He has this great thing about weird iPad games, and that just the translations are hysterical. So I'll show them some video about that, and maybe once every 2 months, I'll dust off that lecture when we got a little bit of time, and I'll show them some more stuff from it. But mostly, the way to avoid the desire to machine translate is to make sure that your students have the scaffolding that they need and they know where to find the scaffolding. So make sure to give your students sentence frames, teach them how to circumlocute so they're not tempted, make sure they keep their sentences at n+1 and you keep your sentences at n+1. So that's the zone of proximal development. When I was in graduate school, we learned it as N+1, but nowadays all the linguistics books are calling it I+1, where N or I is the amount of language that you know, and then +1 is just slightly out of your comfort zone. That's where the students should be working, because that's where the most knowledge is being gained. That's when the most progress is being attained. On the rare occasion that my students do use machine translate, I call them out, but not by name, because I don't want to shame any of my students. I don't want any of their effective filters to go up, and I know why they're doing it. They're not doing it to cheat. They're just doing it because they're frustrated, okay? But I make a big joke of it, okay? So I go up to the front of the class, and I'm like, oh, get a load of this. Listen to this sentence. Somebody's telling me that their father has 6 legs. What were they trying to say? Oh, look at this. I'm not going to tell you what this means, because it's really illegal that you're trying to do to grandma. No, but it's funny. Okay, let's look at this next one. Let's see if we can figure out. I still, for the life of me, can't figure out what, the principal Google translated something and sent it to me, and he said it's important for the students to scream at the belt of Cedar Crest. I have no idea what he was trying to say. It was just really funny, and I show it to my students. This is one of my favorite Saturday morning breakfast comics by Zach Wiener-Smith, right here. I have better, shorter ways to handle this thinking routine, is what I'm trying to say. So I don't do it the way that Harvard Project Zero recommends, because I don't want to talk too long off topic. I want to get the students focused, and I'm willing to do my machine translation lecture in English so that the students understand, but I don't want to do a bunch of other stuff in English. So, but that's when I started what I called Metacognition Monday. Here's my files, Metacognition Monday, and I have an entire other playlist where I'm just going to go through each of these things for my students, and every Monday for like 5-10 minutes, I give them this little quick mini lecture about, the importance of making weird connections. This is going to help you memorize stuff. Oh, here's Zipf's law. Oh, look at that. I misspelled it. There's an F there. Zipf's law is looking at high frequency words. Okay, the effective filter and how students can lower that. N+1 or I+1. Okay, the importance of reading, the importance of handwriting, the growth mindset, blah 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 blah. That's just, I do this with my students once a week, and I really get their buy-in. They come along with me for the ride. They understand now the importance of why we do the crazy things we do in class and how it's going to help them, and also how they can take what they learn in my language class and apply it to their math class, to their science class, to their history class, to their drama class, to their music class, to all their other classes, to their horticulture class, and that gives the students relevance. They feel they have control over it now, and they feel like this is something that they can really use. Even if they never use the language, their brain is so much stronger for studying the language. So in our next episode, we're going to look at the +1 routine, which is from synthesizing and organizing ideas. We're in our very next section, and I'm going to tell you right now, the +1 routine is probably my absolute favorite of all the Harvard Project Zero thinking routines. I use this one very, very often. So I hope to see you there.